this is ojambo. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to create a textured triangle using Blender Python API. As you can see, we have this, you see this little triangle, it's rotating, and it's also, you see it has texture here. So all this was done using the noise to create the texture. So, and also what we did as well is, you see this is the blend file, to create a blend file here, and obviously we also, it's going to output a video file. So here's the video file. I'll just play this, and where is it playing? As you can see there, it's playing, and I think it's done. Yeah, it's done. Okay. Before we begin, quick reminder that every day I host a live stream. So you visit ojambo.com, you go to the watch menu, you go to live sub menu, you can see the tutorial for today's story is called Textured Triangle Rotation Animation using Blender Python. You see the channel it's going to be on and the day and time. And these are topics for post-dated live streams. Each of these articles is going to have a little snippet at the top. It will tell you the exact day and time. It's always going to be Eastern time. And you're free to ask anything in the live chat about programming or lifestyle topics. So the live stream, as you can see, this is the link here. So you click there, you go to the channel, you log in, and then you post your requests and questions and queries. If you don't want to do that, you can simply watch the video. And the video is also embedded in the article here. So I'll show you a bit when we scroll down, so that way you're covered. Be sure to subscribe, like, follow, leave comments for more frequent content. So let's continue. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a sample project from the Mastering Blender Python API book. It's available on Amazon right now. Just search for ojambo. The links are also in the description and also in the article. So whether you're a beginner or intermediate user, this project shows you how to create a custom triangle mesh. You apply the noise-based procedural texture to each face, and then you animate a rotation to showcase all the sides. So the code is usually the way it begins, you import the Blender Python, obviously the module, and then you'll be able to control Blender that way. So as you see, I do have the code here for you guys. So you can see this is, if you expand this, you'll be able to see the triangle mesh, how to create a triangle mesh. So the reason I split it up is because you might want to do something different. For example, you might want to make it a 3D one, but this one, is, as you saw, is just a 2D version. Then you apply the unique noise textures to each face. So for example, this one is only obviously going to have one face and simple rotation, but as I said, if it's a 3D one, obviously 3 sides or 6, that's 4 sides for the triangle. You could, each of them could have a separate face and a separate noise texture. And then the rotation, so rotate on all sides. And here is some screenshots. And then here is this is what it will actually look like. As you can see, you can see the little texture here. And then remember, I promised you the video. Here's the embedded video. So if we play this video, this is a live video. This is a live video. As you can see, it's literally showing what I'm what I'm doing exactly right now. So again, there's also in the Blender Python API book. This is just a simple example of a taste what you get. So there's it's more comprehensive. There's mesh generation, materials and shaders, node animation, rigging and animation, and scripting best practices. There's also a section for the Blender VSE, that's a sequence editor. Okay, and you have a link here where you can learn more, and you go straight to the Amazon link to purchase the book. Okay. Let's get started here. So this looks a little bit messy, but it's really not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this file here. It's textured triangle Python file. I'm going to open it up. I'm not going to use Guinea this time. I'm going to use the GNOME text editor, this one here. Let's actually split the screen here so you guys can see it. You should be able to see this. So basically, as you can see here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, just a little bit. That should be enough. There we go. So as I said, the first thing you always do is you import the Blender Python module, and then we also import math because Blender uses radians. It doesn't use degrees, as in 20 degrees, 30 degrees. You have to convert to radians. If you don't know what radians are, that's basically it goes from 0 to 1. Then here, the first thing we do is we clear the screen. So grab all the objects and remove them, and we delete them. And next we create our mesh. So we give it a name. It's going to be triangle mesh. And then what we do is in the new versions of Blender, you have to, when you create a mesh, you have to create some data inside it as well. So that's why you always have to do the data objects new, a triangle, the type, it's triangle, it's a mesh. So the mesh here, we just give it a name. And then we add it to the collection. And then we define the vertices and the face. Obviously, there's only one face. That's why you see here. So 0, 1, 1, and 2. There's only one. I said this is going to be a 2D mesh. But you can obviously easily convert this to a 3D, as you can see by simply changing the faces here. So these are the vertices. And then from mesh, from the pi data, vertices, and then we just update it. Then after that, we're going to loop through this because because remember, for the materials, so if we had more sides or more faces, we'd do that as well. But in this case, it's just one, and we'll just make our texture. It turned out pretty well. So we create a new material, go data as well. This is the F strings. I explained this in Learning Python course, which is also available on Amazon. And you can see here we use nodes, and the nodes, they will create nodes and the links, and we get the shader noise text noise shader. We also get the principled BSD, so the color from the noise will go into the base color of our BSD, principled BSD. And then after that, we do some polygons here. And then next we do the we append it to we append it to our object, which is obviously the mesh. Then we do the animation here, and you see here we do rotation Euler because this is the radians, and you see everything has to be in radians. So that's what we do here. We can just convert it to radians, and then what we do is we add a camera, and then we obviously, again, we have to add data to it. I said that's the new way of doing stuff in Blender. And then we add it to the collection. Now, before I continue, I just want to let you know that you might wonder why, if we go up here, why I deleted everything here. The reason is Blender for a while has always had like default, I believe, a cube. I'm not sure if it always had a camera and the light. I'm also not sure if the light was always there. But I'm saying is that the reason we deleted it because in the future, Blender might do something different. So when you write code like this, remember, you try to future-proof it as much as possible, meaning that I could come back to this code maybe 10 years from now. It will still work. Maybe the Python have changed a little bit, but the gist of it will still work. So that's why we delete everything, just to be more future-proof. And then we add the camera. And because we don't know where the camera is facing initially, so when we add our camera, we have full control of it. It's also easier to code because if you actually see some of the Blender Python code out there on the internet, they will loop through all the objects and see which one is a camera. This is actually much easier to do. We actually create a camera, then we have control over it because it's in a variable, and then we for example, we see we can tilt it and we want. It's just much more easier. Then we add it to our scene, and then the lights, we also add a light here. You might not need a light, for example, if you're using like an HDR image as a background, or if you don't need any background, if this is bright enough, you might not need it. For example, this is really 2D. We really don't need a light. I should just have used the word, but I'm just showing you how to add a light because I said most likely you probably have a 3D. That's why I put optional here. And then we set our render settings. So we set the frames to 120. And the FPS to 30, and we make it 1920 by 1080. Obviously, you can change this any way you want. And then the render output format is FFmpeg. Why FFmpeg? Because that way allow us to choose the format, the output format, which would be a MP4. We use H.264. We set the construct rate factor high, the FFmpeg to good, and the audio codec, because there's no audio here, so that's why it's set to none. Now, you might be wondering why I'd use FFmpeg. Use MP4 and H.264. The reason I do that is because Blender is a little bit behind when it comes to getting the all the settings from FFmpeg. At least at the time of this recording, using H.264 allows it to use use your hardware, meaning your GPU or more of your CPU to render it in parallel instead of the usual only one single CPU. So this will be the fastest way to render, at least at this time of this recording. And then of course we want to save the Blender file, so that's why it's called textured_blender.blend. So the / means that it's in the same folder path or relative path to where this Python file is. So that's why we put it there, and then we save the blend file. I'll explain why we save the blend file in a second. The reason I do that is because when we're rendering, you see the render is also // meaning it's in the relative path to where the Python file or the blend file is. The reason that we do this is because if the computer crashes, remember we're not rendering images, we're rendering a video file. So if it crashes, instead of so something like this, because it's only 120 frames, I don't mind starting from scratch again. But you might by having a blend file, you might be able to go and tweak some things, and then you can, before you render it again, or you can set it to render maybe from different frames, and then you can use something like FFmpeg on the command line or another program and then combine them together. So as you can see, I've commented out the animation, but this time I'm going to actually, the reason I did this is because if you just copy this code into your Blender, it will do the same thing, but it will be slow because it's rendering with the UI. So it's better to render it on the command line. So I'm going to uncomment that. Okay, so if you don't want to use a text editor, you can simply copy this into Blender, but just uncheck this. Okay, so with that out of the way, next let's go back here. Before we go to the command line, I'm going to delete this blend file here because that's not needed. I'm going to need this one, and you can see the video it rendered before I put it as triangle 1. The reason I did this is so that it doesn't override it, so we can compare. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the terminal now, and I'll show you how to run this. Okay, so what you do is oh, I forgot. Let me make it half the screen. Oops, wrong. Okay, I'm going to make it bigger, so if you will see that. So you just type Blender -B. The -B stands for background, run in the background, and then -P, capital P, that's for the Python file. So I called it textured -triangle.py. So then I hit enter. So as you can see here, the Blender version I'm using is 4.4.3, and you can see when you render on the command line, it's much faster because it doesn't have the UI. If it had the UI, it also has to, every time it changes, it has to draw it it has to draw the UI, it has to update the UI, so that's slower. So it's much faster when it's on the command line. So if you see right now, we are on frame 30 and we have 120 frames. So obviously if I made this maybe 25, it'll go a little bit fast, and you can see it's zipping right through this. Now one way, something I should have done is, you see that by default the sample rate is 64 samples. For what I'm doing, I don't need 64 samples. I should actually have left it at 16. Yeah, that's something you can change as well. It will render much faster because we're just rendering. First of all, it's 2D, and it's a textured. Although it's procedural success, there's no need. I don't need that many samples. I should actually have set those a little bit lower, but this is just a tutorial, fun little tutorial, and it's almost done. We have about 120, no, sorry, we have about 20, less than 20 more frames right here. You see it says 110. Yeah, so we have about 10 more frames to go, and it'll be done. Okay, it's done. So in case you're wondering why it says 120, all this, because you see it does, it's one of 64 samples, and 25 or 64, 50. So that's why I said that what I should have done, I should have left this at 16 samples. That should have been good enough. So we don't need the command line anymore, so I'm going to close that. And now you can see what it did. It created an MP4 file called rendered_triangle, and it also created the blend file here. So let's play the video file first, just to show you what it looks like. Okay, so you saw the video. And next, let's open up this Blender file. So I'll right click, open with Blender. Okay. And zoom in here. So you see it drew the triangle. Let me zoom in here so you can see. That's our triangle. Now, if you can't see it properly, you can either go to the shading up here, or what you can also do is you can change the, right now it's in the viewport shading. So there's other shading as well. Let's expand this. You see there's this one here, which is the view, what am I doing now? Which one is it? Viewport shading. There's this one here, which will display the shaded objects, and you can see, now you can see it. I'll zoom in again. That's as far as I can zoom. Okay. Oh, there we go. See, and now you can see the actual shading of our object here. So this is the text. So this is the noise. So let's actually go to the shading, and I'll show you what it actually looks like. So why doesn't it? Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, I'll just go back to layout. It's so weird. I think I have to click shading. Okay, there we go. Blender is not very responsively designed. So this is the shading tab here, and as you can see, so let's go back to layout. So here, let me expand this. If we go to the material, you see it says texture. Oh, I didn't pick it. That's why. You see here when you go to texture and the material, you see there's three materials. There's 0, 1, and 2. If you remember from the Python code. So this is the first material, noise texture. There's a second one, and then there's a third one. And you see there's only one BSD, principled BSD. So let's go back to the shading tab. Let me go. Oh, no, it won't. Where's shading? Here, okay, here's shading. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you guys. So you see here in the shading, you see there's a noise texture here. I think click out, just grab, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. So you can see the noise. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see better. Okay, so this is the, let me actually make this, there we go. So you can see the noise texture. It takes it from the color to the base color of the principled BSDF. And you can see here what it did was it's set to 3D and FBM. And then the roughness is set 0.5. So these are the ones. You can obviously change this scale and all that, and that will change the noise level there. And then if you want to fool around with maybe it's the roughness here, and that's basically it to get different type of color. Some people also add a color ramp to give it more like a rough texture if you want, but this is good enough as a quick start. If you remember, I also did a sky. I rendered a sky as well, but that sky was just for the entire background. That wasn't on an object. This one is on an object, and obviously this is the material output as well. So there we go. So that's as simple as that is. So this is done in Blender, and I said like if you do things like so why would you need this? I'll give you an example. So a while back when I was creating a website for a customer, she gave me some, she wanted her background to be textured, and she was telling me to just experiment. And I tried to do it in GIMP, and I wasn't very good at textures and stuff back then. Obviously, I'm an expert now, but I'm saying is that with the noises and stuff and overlays, blend modes, yeah, you can really, make a texture really pop out there. So, so this is it here. I just want to let you know one more thing is if you go to this, not the sculpting tab, I wish there was a way to, oh, there we go. Okay, yes. Okay, so basically, if you take your mouse over and your middle mouse or wheel, you can go through all this one. So I wanted to show you the scripting tab. So this is where you can basically open up a blend file and paste in. You click new, and then you paste in the Python code in here. Then you click on the run button. There, you click on this run button, and then you'll be able to generate it. But as I said, doing it on the command line is much faster. Obviously, you can tweak some of the settings, and then you can remember them in the Python file. And obviously, it's much easier to have one Python file which generates this stuff for you instead of remembering all the settings for specific a Blender. Like what the noise should be, the color, and all that is just easier. So if I want something like this in the future, you see, it's just a few lines of code. Okay, so that's basically it. I'm gonna finish here. I don't need to save because I didn't actually change anything. Now, as I showed you, this is the video that was uploaded. So let's play this video again one more time. And you can see it rotating. There we go. So that's how the video rotates. I'm wondering if this video will play in another video player. Will it play in videos? No, videos doesn't play. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's finish this up. Obviously, this is an example that you would find in one of the type of example you could find in the book called Mastering Blender Python API. As I told you before, you can do mesh generation, materials and shaders, and much more, including the Blender VSC video sequence editor. And there's a link here where you can learn more about the book and where to purchase it on Amazon. The links are also in the description. And also, if you need help or custom tutorials, I do offer personal help with Blender scripting or Python development. I also offer one-on-one private tutorials online, all in person, and also custom project guidance. You can contact me on the website, ojambo.com. You can go to the services website, ojamboservices.com, or in YouTube. You can just search for me at ojamboshop. That's my channel there. You can just click there, and that's it. So before we let you go, a quick reminder that I do have a live stream every single day. You visit ojambo.com. You go to the watch menu, live sub menu. You can see the topics for the post-dated live streams, the channel they're going to be on, and days and times. Also, be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. Okay, this is a quick one today. I don't see any chat requests, so I'm going to end here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Be sure to subscribe.